Ever get that feeling, when you land on a website and it just feels off?
Oh, absolutely.
Like something's not quite right. You're already clicking that back button before you even really know why.
Yeah, we've all been there.
It's like that instant bounce.
Yeah.
And it got me thinking, what is it about those other sites, the ones that just suck you in? Today's deep dive is all about cracking the code of landing pages that really convert.
What I find really intriguing about this lecture is it goes beyond just the surface level advice. It's not just about make your headline catchy. It digs into the psychology behind why people click, how to design for those split-second decisions.
Okay, see, that's what I'm talking about. We've all heard the make it clear, concise, yada, yada.
Right.
But this lecture, it's like it gives you the why.
Right.
And that, to me, that's where the real magic happens.
It does, and it breaks down all the different types of landing pages. Because you could have a click-through page, a lead generation page, even a sales page. Each one's got its own personality, its own goals.
So, okay, let's say, for example, I'm launching a brand new online course. I need a landing page. I need people to not just visit it, but actually sign up. What are some things beyond just the obvious that I need to be thinking about?
Well, one thing that this lecture really emphasizes is the power of visual hierarchy. Now, before you say it, I know everyone says, use visuals, but this is different. It's about strategically placing your elements, right? Guiding the visitor's eye exactly where you want it to go, using color contrast, white space, making that call to action really pop.
So it's like instead of just having a pretty picture, it's about that picture working for you. It's like, look here, this is important.
Exactly. And speaking of grabbing attention, let's talk headlines. We can't forget about those.
Ooh, yes, the headline.
Because a good headline doesn't just tell you what the page is about, it makes you want to read more.
All right, so give me the goods. What makes a truly clickable headline?
Well, the lecture, it gives some great examples, but it really comes down to using strong verbs, being specific. Like instead of welcome to our website, think unlock the secrets to your desired outcome in just 10 minutes a day.
Oh, I'd click on that. That 10 minutes got me. I'm sold. You see, that's the thing.
It's specific.
It promises me something, and it tells me how long it's going to take.
It taps into your desires.
Yes. Okay, but then what? I'm hooked by the headline, the visuals are stunning, but then the content itself.
Yeah.
How do we keep them engaged?
That's where the art of copywriting comes in. And not just any copywriting. We're talking concise, benefit-driven copy that speaks directly to your ideal customer.
Like you've got to woo them with words, but like get to the point,
Right. No time for fluff. This lecture, it actually talks about how people read online. Or really how they don't read.
Oh, tell me about it. I'm a scanner. Headlines, bullet points, that's my jam.
Exactly. And this lecture, it highlights how important it is to structure your copy for that. Short paragraphs, bullet points, those subheadings that tell you what's coming.
It's like giving people the cheat sheet. You can get the gist, even if they don't read every single word.
Absolutely. And then once you've got them hooked with the copy, you need that call to action. And this lecture, it goes deep on this. The psychology of those words, it's fascinating. Like, did you know using the word because can actually increase clicks?
Because you deserve it. Click. See, it works. Even if it sounds a little cheesy sometimes, there's a reason those marketing phrases stick around. It's like they're tapping into something.
They tap into our motivations, our desires, absolutely. And this lecture even touches on, the ethics of it all. Persuasion versus manipulation, finding that balance.
Good point.
Which actually brings us to another element, social proof.
Ah, yes. Those testimonials, the reviews, seeing how many people follow a brand, like digital word of mouth, right?
It is. And in a world where we're overwhelmed with choices, it's powerful stuff. Think about it. If you see hundreds of 5-star reviews.
Oh, I'm way more likely to trust it than if it's just like some random product I've never heard of before, for sure.
Right. It's that validation. But even with all the right elements in place, copy, visuals, social proof, there's this one thing that can still trip people up. Forms.
Ugh, forms. Necessary evil. I feel like sometimes they're just there.
Well, they are necessary, right? We need that information. But ask for too much and it's like a brick wall for people.
Okay, so how do we find that balance? Getting what we need without making it feel like a chore for the customer.
This lecture actually gives some great tips, like only ask for what's absolutely essential. And be upfront about how you're using that data. Nobody likes to feel like their privacy is being invaded.
And honestly, some of those CAPI-TCHA codes out there, like, am I proving I'm human or solving for the meaning of life? Sometimes I just want to scream, take my money already.
It's true. A bad form, it's a conversion killer, that's for sure. But here's the thing. A good form, It's not just about not being bad.
Oh.
It can actually make the whole experience better if it's done right.
Okay, now I'm skeptical.
Yeah.
How do you make filling out a form enjoyable? Is that even possible?
Think of it like this. Instead of feeling interrogated a good form, it should feel like a conversation. It guides you, step by step. The language is clear. It makes sense why they're asking what they're asking.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. Like, instead of just this big wall of blank boxes, it's like, okay, we did this, now this, now this.
Right, exactly. This lecture even talks about micro interactions.
Yeah.
Those little things like a check mark when you've filled out a field correctly.
Oh, yeah, those are always so satisfying. It's like,
Yeah.
yes, I did it.
Right, it gives you that little dopamine hit.
All right.
Speaking of things that make your life easier, we can't forget about mobile optimization. I mean, these days.
No, it's non-negotiable. Right, people are on their phones constantly.
Constantly. And it's not just about making sure the text is big enough to read. It's about how people use their phones.
Oh, totally different mindset. Like, I'm probably on the go. I've got a million things happening.
Exactly. You've got to design for that. Now, before we wrap things up, you mentioned earlier about social media being like mini landing pages.
Yeah, I feel like that's becoming a bigger and bigger thing.
It is, and the lecture touches on this too. It's interesting because as great as those platforms are for reach, they also come with a lot of dot noise.
Oh, totally. Distractions everywhere. You're competing for attention.
Exactly. A dedicated landing page, it's like you control the environment, you control the message.
It's like that focused space.
Yeah.
No distractions. So for our listeners who are ready to level up their landing page game, what are the absolute must-dos?
Well, number one, remember, it's all part of a bigger journey, right? Where's your audience coming from? What are they looking for? What do you want them to do? Answer those questions, and then you can build a page that guides them.
It's like that roadmap, right? You got to know the destination before you can plan the route.
Exactly. And we've talked about visuals, we've talked about copy, but don't be afraid to experiment a little too.
Oh, yeah. What works for one audience might not work for another.
Absolutely. And the digital world, it's always changing, so stay curious.
So much good stuff. This deep dive has been amazing. I feel like I've learned so much, and I'm ready to go create some killer landing pages.
That's what we like to hear. Remember, it's not just about getting them there, it's about what happens next. That conversion, that's the magic moment.
Music to my ears. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of landing pages. Until next time.